After the fall of Kabul, the Taliban showing off their strength, calling for Islamic unity across the world, Afghan women protesting for their rights, resistance forces putting up a fight to restore democracy and freedom on their land. The Afghans have been left with no choice really but to protest, to resist. The Afghans did not choose the Taliban, just like they did not choose the corrupt governments of Ashraf Ghani and Hamid Karzai. For the 39 million people of Afghanistan, life has been a cycle of interventions and unpleasant surprises with little scope for choice. When the Taliban overran the country, Afghans were forced to pick between the devil and the deep blue sea. Our next report explains.
On the morning of 9/11, when planes hit the Twin Towers, they destroyed the lives of some 39 million Afghans, thousands of miles away from New York. The US entered Afghanistan, enforced a flawed democracy, and began recreating the state of Afghanistan. America set in motion a cycle of interventions. In 2001, it made Hamid Karzai the interim administrator. In 2002, Karzai was confirmed as the transitional president. This after America pressured all his competitors into leaving the race. Karzai was re-elected in 2004 and again in 2009. In 2014, when Ashraf Ghani and Abdullah were competing, amid claims of massive fraud, then US Secretary of State John Kerry personally brokered a power-sharing deal. Did the Afghans have a say? They didn't. In 2014, Ghani secured a disputed re-election. America was happy. They said the flowers of democracy were blooming in harsh Afghan terror. Whom did they benefit? Just a handful of corrupt officials. Hamid Karzai's brother was sitting on a $23 million loan from the country's national bank. Did he repay it? You may want to find out. In 2014, Reuters reported about a $633 million loan scandal. In another case, Rehman Rahmani, the son of a former Afghan speaker, was given millions of dollars in contracts. He was supposed to supply fuel and security to US military bases. Where did the supplies ever reach? Again, you may want to find out. Many Afghan officials reportedly stole paychecks given by the Americans. They stole arms, even food. The supplies were meant for Afghan soldiers. They never reached them. America was paying for a 300,000 men strong Afghan army, but the number of men standing in uniform was much smaller. The balance was being pocketed. Officials squeezed the Afghan army and the civilians alike. An ordinary Afghan was forced to cough up huge sums every time he crossed a checkpoint or went to an office for paperwork. Even applying for a job required him to bribe an official first. The people of Afghanistan had no choice but to pay and put up with that version of democracy. The soldiers had no choice but to man their posts without pay. So when the Taliban went from one province to another, many men in uniform surrendered without a fight. Many people in their homes hoped that the Taliban would clear their country of corruption. The Afghans did not choose this Taliban regime, just like they did not choose the US intervention and the corrupt governments that followed. When the Taliban came knocking on the door, the choice for the family in the house was between the devil and the deep sea. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
There's an old saying in journalism, follow